So I worked and worked and worked, and I got a bunch of gigs, and eventually I got work at Marvel Comics. And as a kid, I actually hated comics, but when I grew to like them, I liked Marvel Comics. The first job that I was offered was Wolverine, the guy with all the claws. And I read every issue of Wolverine because I hadn't read any of them, and I did my homework. And the day I was supposed to start on it, the guy who was running Marvel said, the X-Men writers are gone, and we're going to replace them, and I want you to take over the X-Men, which was the first comic book I had ever bought with my own money. And so I was like, but I turned him down because I thought, you shouldn't always get what you want. I read all this Wolverine stuff. I'm going to do Wolverine. And then he told me who the artist was. It was Chris Bachalo, who I was a huge fan of on the X-Men, but not on Wolverine. So I then had to choose. So I chose the X-Men. And I thought to myself, I was like, I've been in comics about 10 years. I've worked myself to death. Finally, I'm on the X-Men. And I'm like, who's writing the other book? And they're like, oh, it's Joe Kelly, this new kid who just graduated from NYU. I'm like, but I've worked 10 years to get here. He's done nothing. He has no credits. He's done like 4 comic books or something. Nobody even knows what they are. No awards. Who is this guy? So I just decided I would despise him right off the gate, right out of the gate. And then I met him. You know, he's like he usually is. And I'm like, oh, don't smile at me. I can't be mean to you. And then I hung out with him for a weekend, and I was like, well, he's my best friend, I think. So now I really can't hate him. I got to actually like him and work with him. And literally, that year was one of the worst work experiences I've ever had, but not Joe. Joe was great. The Marvel was bankrupt at the time, and it was just an awful place to work. But it was like being in war together. Right. You know, we're trench
We were in the
hole
trenches.
partners
Yes.
going, how are we going to survive through this?